This is the best mage Diluvian build, outputting crazy damage higher than any mage before. It's able to clear the higher rounds of Diluvian with no issue, even giving me a 40-second wave 50, without me even dropping below 2 bars. And many of the lower waves simply got one-shot by the sheer amount of damage I can output. Instead of showcasing this build at 2,000 likes or 500 subscribers gained, I'll be releasing my every Diluvian V3. That's just a series of videos where I don't showcase one Diluvian build, but literally everything that is currently meta in the game. So this time around, it'll include over 70 new combinations of Diluvian PvE builds based on your preference. Obviously, we will break down what is the most meta to run. It'll also go over the new farming strats if you want to farm Diluvian even faster and get more relics. So make sure you like and subscribe and join the Discord so you don't miss that. A huge thank you to my channel members, especially those kind souls in the Mega and Super tiers. They get these videos early along with other channel member perks. But now let's get into how I progged the best Diluvian PvE build. So yeah, it's been a minute, sorry about that, but we're back on the content grind with a new Diluvian build. The first thing I'm going to do is craft up the Scholar Armor. This just makes training my willpower stat a lot faster, and you know, since it's a brick wall build, we're obviously going 100 willpower. But as opposed to progging in the depths, which I could do, it is actually faster for my case to go to the overworld, just because if I go to Hive, then I can get boosting from the other people also grinding the Hive jobs. As a whole, it's just quicker and a little bit safer. Not that I've ever really had issues with getting jumped. However, us being at Vigils is really good because we can get a blood random mantra to train with. I'm ideally gonna try to get something like Scarlet Cyclone, just because multi-hits make training really fast, and I need to rush Blood Rend at the start of this build. Also, yes, Blood Rend is still better than Intelligence. Obviously, you have the health drain, which is kind of annoying, but this build does a ton of DPS and Diluvian, plus you can always just toggle off Rush Hour. Oh my god, Mystic. This has been the longest time between me progging, at about 3 weeks, so I'm gonna need to, you know, relearn all of my small time saves, but this prog hopefully shouldn't take too long. But yeah, as I was saying before, big gap between videos. It's not because I wasn't working on a video. I did have a like PvE balance video that I did plan to make. However, as you might know, Argomatsu did become a dev, which means a lot of the PvE stuff we've both talked about is more likely to be added. And obviously he's not, you know, gonna solely focus on PvE, but the big points that I made in the video are generally ones that me and him have agreed on, or at least talked about. And because DVM is going to be made innate, likely in this next weekly, in the way, or close to the way that I suggested in the video, I thought that there wasn't too much of a point to making the video anymore. I mean, sure, I do suggest a bunch of QOL stuff, and you know, give guidance for like, this is where I think the future of PvE should go, but if I'm being honest, the devs already have a plan in mind for like, you know, what they want to do, plus they actually know how to code stuff. So at that point, the video would be more me just suggesting new features for PvE over just balance. Because if you want my honest opinion, PvE is probably in the most diverse state right now. There's multiple ways to run Diluvian. There's very different speedrun builds for every category. Sure, you have builds like Lunar Lord that are like dominantly the best, but there's a lot of skill to playing Lunar Lord at its peak. So I think PvE is fine right now, and there really just isn't much of a point to making that video anymore. Okay, not very good mantras. I think Crimson Rain's a multi-hit. They haven't actually used many. Okay, it's not. Actually, I mean, sort of is. I mean, can't hurt to train against Threshers. We're also pretty close to the speed gate near Hive, so I will just go get a dinghy and then sail on over there. I might as well talk about some of the topics that I put in the video, because while it's not really worth making a full video on it, having some, you know, stuff to yap about while I prog never hurts. Also, I think they bugged the zipline. Hopefully it's gonna get fixed. Now I'll buy a dinghy, then we can just sail to Hive. It appears there's a few other players around, so we're not gonna be doing this solo, which is, you know, good because Threshers at power 1, I mean, they're not impossible, but they're not exactly easy, especially if you get a King Thresher on you. But as I was saying, one of the major points in the PvE balance video was, should DVM be made innate? And by innate, I mean that you just get the stats gradually or through whatever method of your choosing. My opinion on that has changed quite a lot over the years, but it currently sits at a yes. Because if you think about it, PvE builds just have a fundamental disadvantage while existing. Because not only is your build, you know, not spec for PvE, but you're running with over 150 less HP than another PvP build, just because you need to run DVM in order to deal decent damage. So if you make it so you can acquire DVM from sources other than equipment, then that issue goes away. Why am I trying to actually fight this thing? I'm just gonna snipe it with a range monsters. That would kill me. Can this guy aggro on the frost draw? What? They're not aggroing. Oh my god, he probably lost aggro. Yes, Hero Blade of Frost guy, get. Wait, that's oh, in case I hit someone. Are you real? Yes. I can't tell if this guy's about to attack. Okay, no, he's chill. He's chill. Yes. Say hi to G. And okay, now he's jumping. Do you remember me? No, sorry. Hey, this is the good thing about Programming High. I meet a lot of people, and like, I mean, yeah, this kind of does happen. So we get like some entertainment at the same time. That one night at Star Swipe. Yeah, I'm sorry to whoever this is. I meet a lot of people. Do you still have world record for Primo? Yes. Okay, but we're getting off topic. I either suggested that you should be able to get all the innate DVM through Echoes upgrades, you know, if they're feeling lazy, or through flawlessing bosses. Because I feel like moving DVM over to a system where you just grind or get boosted in the hardest content to something that requires actual skill is a lot more interesting. Also, oh my god, maybe I should leave this server. I'm gonna start using me as a health pack. Actually, you can't do that with the freshies anymore. So we got a Silent Heart, we got Flame Mage, we got a Shadow Mage. Okay, yeah, back to progging. We're just a bunch of freshies trying to grind at Hive, and now there's a gank going on. Do you think I could snipe that King Thresher kill without getting jumped? Okay, I'm just getting caught in the crossfire. We're good. Oh my god, lag spike. I'm power 1. This is... Why are the NPCs aggroed on me? Why are they aggroed on me? Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. Oh my god, there's so many people. I saw a TP bell, so they're bringing more people in. What happened? Holy. This would be a good time to get my ult account on and just shoot it with blood random mantras. I think we might just be able to prog in the corner and ignore the gank. I mean, I'm like power 1, so even if I do get jumped, I'm just gonna power up. Okay, we got really off topic. Flawless bosses get some DVM, Vita World Boss get some DVM and Monster Armor. Although they could possibly justify removing monster armor. If you can run HP kits and Fizz kits, then you don't want to make PvE builds too tanky. But they are going to do some sort of achievement system. No, I didn't get any leaks on it, so I don't exactly know how they're going to make DVM innate yet, but seeing as Agamatsu is the original one to come up with the beat bosses for DVM idea, there's a high chance that that is what they do to some degree. I think the gank's over. I don't know who won. Hopefully the guy who recognized me is still alive. Well, they're not coming after me, so it seems like a win. So, oh my, I'm getting like no blood ren training. Jesus. I guess I'll just train Fortitude instead. Like, we don't need to get blood ren super fast. Plus, getting more blood ren mantras would make the process go faster. I'll get Loot Skipper, Carry Load, and a rare talent. Blood Iron Spirit, and Scarlet Cyclone. That is going to make training really fast since it's a multi-hit. Then I'll just start with probably Song Chant just to make killing the Threshers quicker. I'll quickly check my bank to see if I have a multiplying spark, since if I chuck that on Scarlet Cyclone, I'm going to get even more training. Okay, no I didn't, but I want to point out that what's happening right now, this is truly Deepwoken. Like, when I think of like prime Deepwoken with all my friends, it was just a random gank that just happened at Hive, and I honestly think the game's healthiest when people are just jumping in the overworld. I mean, sure, you can say like, oh, maybe like this build is way too broken over here, but like as a whole, Deepwoken is just really fun when random ganks happen. No like bringing it to Discord later, no like guild politics or like instant servers, just in the wild, a gank happening, people versus people, whoever backs out first loses. I think that this is what like the most fun part of Deepwoken is. I know that's just my opinion, maybe I have a bunch of nostalgia. I had to log from that server because there was just way too many people and it was just completely destroying all these spawns. But another big point I had in that video was, should new content be instanced or not? Because there's arguments for both sides. Some people will say new content should be instanced because you don't want to get jumped by 5 people, that's just not fun. And then some people will say content shouldn't be instanced because getting ganked is a part of the game. And both sides are right. Like, I asked my viewers how many people they often played with, and over half the game is usually solo, which means if a gank starts up, they're not really going to have people to call. And half the time, they don't even want to fight multiple people at once. But then again, over half the game doesn't play solo, or is already looking for ganks. Okay, wait, this is going to be kind of bad to fight solo. Max power, save me. Oh my god. Okay, one pressure, I can take it. And this is why we prog it high. It makes things significantly easier. So, oh my god, I'm getting no blood rend training. What the hell? Am I just that low of a level? Okay, well, I guess I'll just boulder again. We go power 3. Oh my god. Bro, why? Every single time. Bro, can this guy not run into me? There we go. So yeah, there is certainly arguments to be made for and against instance content. I don't think there's a solid answer. However, you do need to be careful about balancing new content. There's no real solid answer for if you should make content instanced or not. There just has to be a balance. I'd say that non-instance content is typically better in the cases where you're doing it with a team, such as Hell Mode, because there's already people to back you up. But solo stuff like, Ferryman or Duke, that isn't instanced because, well, you're by yourself, and therefore it's a lot harder to get jumped. I mean, it's not impossible. You can still, camp at the points where you enter the boss to attack people. But as a whole, generally that's how they balance instance versus non-instance. We have yet another gank. Wait, is this man using the Iron Sing strat? You can currently one-shot people with Rocket Lance and Ice Lance, and I swear I heard an Iron Sing thing. Okay, I don't know if this man's trying to abuse it, but he might be trying an insta-kill. Well, another day at Hive, another, Voidwalker jumping. Lodestar bounty? I don't know if I really want to take that. I mean, I might as well, ag it for XP. Can I get in? Oh, that meant did a bar. And go away, NPC. Holy. Okay, we're good. He's not aggroed on me anymore. All right, more Threshes. I've got this one all to myself, so hopefully I should be able to get a lot of blood rend training off it. Please give me more than 2 points. Okay, we got 2 points. Oh, we literally got 2 points. Okay, what did they do to this achievement training? Why is it so unbelievably slow with blood rend? Hive is just full of ganks today, god damn. It's honestly been a long time coming for me to actually make a Steam PvE build, because it's been in the game for ages. I just haven't bothered to make a build with it, because honestly, I already had a Flame and Frost build from months ago, so just swap around the talents and you basically have the same thing. So who is this Voidwalker after? Well, it's not me, so none of my problem. I always knew Steam was... What was my... Okay, there we go. Fix my mouse. I always knew Steam was relatively good for Diluvian, just because it scaled really well with multiple targets to hit. Oh my god. Is that a Fan the Flames? Burning Servants? Holy. I think I have to go on a guild base to use my campfire, because I am just going to auto-didact the rest of this blood rend, because it is just so unfun to train. And then after we finish this blood rend, our power is just going to skyrocket, because willpower and fortitude are really easy to train. Sit here, and then start investing. Power up. There we go, Rush Hour. That is a huge damage buff to the build. Then, I guess, moving Fortress, because we do need Bastion cards. Doesn't really matter what we get now, so I'll get Blood Wisp, because that'll lead into Will-O-Wisp, which we will need later anyways. I've never actually used Blood Wisp. And now, 60 Blood Rend, lock that stat, and then we just need to start leveling up our Fortitude and Willpower, which will come way faster. Partially because we also have the Scholar armor on, which does increase the rate that we train willpower. Then we tag this event a few times, and there's a ton of XP. No new power. Okay, we'll use our willpower. There we go. Hour 5. I'll freeze this and take Will-O-Wisp. Nothing I really need here, so I'm just gonna burn a... What happened there? I'll just take Scuba Drowner and then I'll burn some Blood Rend cards, since they are going to come up a whole lot. Blood Transfusion, that is definitely a really useful card, because it lets us get rid of the no mantra status condition on critical, which is crucial for speedrunning Diluvian. Oh my god, King Thresh is getting destroyed. Okay, I'm gonna have to attack. Bro, I didn't even get XP. They killed it too fast. But I knew Steam was good for the longest time, just because Agitating Spark made it really easy to burn everything. Plus, Frost Mantras generally attack independently of you. So you just pair Warden's Blades and Relentless Flames, and you have a ton of Steam procs. And with a lot of targets, you get a lot more Steam procs, and thus way more damage. So it's overdue that I actually, test Steam for myself and see how good it is. I probably won't do a showcase for this video. Instead, I'll just do an every Diluvian build of E3 and, just update it with even more Diluvian builds. It's generally a video I like to do every so often, just because Diluvian is really simple in terms of what you can run, there's far less options than other things because Brick Wall is basically required. God, making so much damage. Oh, hold up Rush Hour, and I'll probably just power up my health pack. Oh, I did not. Okay. But in the average Diluvian build videos, I'll make like 10, 20, 30 different PvE builds. Just, you know, cover the skipper gripper, yes. Just to cover whatever you could want to run. Since I've done enough testing with Diluvian and talked about it enough with Diluvian players, that it's not hard for me to tell what Diluvian build is worth running. This time around, I'll just make even more PvEs for even more situations. Since sometimes you don't want to play meta, and you'd rather just play a more gimmicky, casual Diluvian build. Or, you know, some weird dual achievement crosspath. Since with the type of build I'm making today, you could do Gale and Iron Sing, Flame and Shadowcast, or just a lot of different variants. And this wasn't a type of build that I had at the time. And there's Power 7, I'll get Battle Tendency, I'll get this for the plus 5 HP, and Exoskeleton, nice. Getting a rare card out of the way early. More Song Chant. Now I just have to try to get credit. Why is this man using like a massive burning servants with people around? It is hitting everyone. The Every Diluvian videos originally started as sort of like a satire take on Diluvian showcases, because I knew how simple Diluvian builds were, and sometimes when I'd make an upload, like on Tempest Tyrant, people would say, oh my god, I made this exact same build earlier. So I thought, wouldn't it be funny to just make every single Diluvian PvE? So I made over 70. I mean, obviously I'm never gonna claim, oh my god, I made this first, because I know how simple it is. I know how simple it is to make a Diluvian. But it was originally satire, but people did actually find it helpful, since I wouldn't get as many questions on what's the best Diluvian build for this attunement if I've already got 5 Diluvian builds in that attunement for different situations and different levels of skill. So it turned from like a satire series to me actually trying to make every viable Diluvian build for people, and sort of being an update on what the meta is. Since even though Diluvian isn't the fastest for relics anymore, that's enmity by a long shot, it still is what most people do, and thus I do need to be up to date on what the meta for Diluvian is. And I'd rather bulk make a ton of builds than spend a day recording and editing a prog and turn that into a showcase, and then, you know, spend a week on each attunement when I can just spend a couple days on an every Diluvian video and make a build for every attunement. It's just a lot more time efficient if I'm trying to get information out there on builds. They are now fighting over who gets the Red Death NPC. Oh, can I steal it? I didn't steal it, unfortunate. Oh, we're power 10. Wait, I can equip this. Alright, there we go. The drip for the build is basically complete. I just need to get a certain schematic after. There's 2 facts that you have to face with a game that has as much build customizability as Deepwoken. And that's A, over time, build making is gonna become more complex. Naturally, people are going to figure out better strategies and more in-depth ways to use the features in the game, and that is going to make a disconnect between what a new player can understand and make versus what an experienced player can make. And then that does make balancing new content more difficult. Like, for example, if they released something with a power level of Primonon back in verse 1, Primonon's really strong, that's hard to beat. But if they release something with the power level of Primonon now, we're going to absolutely destroy it because we understand the game more and we've had a lot longer to improve our builds. So that does kind of make a weird situation where devs have to balance new content around the strongest builds in the game, or they either have to nerf the strongest builds in the game. So that gives devs an interesting dilemma where they need to simultaneously make new content that's challenging, but they can't make it unfair to the extent that it kind of bars certain strategies. Like, that's why I dislike the Diluvian and Enmity. The Diluvian sort of locks you into Brick Wall if you want to solo, and Enmity cuts off all mages since it's just not worth running unless you have some sort of M1 to support it. But I don't always think the answer is necessarily nerfing the best builds in the game. Actually, let me rephrase that. The best builds that use broken strategies should be nerfed, but you also need to maintain the complexity that made those builds possible. Because I think if you do want to get good at a game, you should have to learn how to actually make builds. What works, what doesn't, how to counter certain things. There is a fine line between keeping builds interesting and keeping builds broken though. I also just want to say this a reference, don't take my yappings in the progs too seriously. A lot of the time I am just kind of, you know, saying what's on my mind and they aren't actual suggestions. I'm more pointing out issues that I see with the game to, you know, just get people thinking about them. You know, like, sure, I'm not the best person to talk about how to balance all the builds in the game, but I do think there is a complex issue with balancing the top end builds while still still keeping build making interesting. Since obviously if you just nerf everything, then, well, it doesn't really matter what you run. But you can't buff everything because if everything's broken, then the game isn't fun. Plus, you know, you gotta keep the long-time players happy, get players to come back to the game, and also make the game accessible for new players. So balancing content is a lot more difficult than most people think, in my opinion. Although I will say devs do appear to be making a lot of progress in terms of making the game a lot more fun to play with balancing. Like, from what I've heard, the previous balance patch at the time of recording was really good. And well, if you just look at the size of the balance patch, it's clear the devs are starting to listen to the community more. Granted, there is an issue with, you know, we're not getting new content, but that can be explained through, you know, devs have lives, devs are focusing on balancing, as well as they're just doing a ton of rewrites of the old stuff, which they need to finish before adding new content. So as a whole, I don't really think there's a solid answer on if Deepwoken is okay right now. Like, it's not perfect, but it is clear that progress is being made when compared to, you know, the we're working on Conquest era. So, oh my god, that eruption is huge. Like, what the hell? Power 12, we're starting to get a bunch of random mantras that we don't need. Also, burning cards seems to bug out the talent hand. So I'm just going to be clicking fold a bunch. So I don't want any of these at all. Grab this, +1 sanity, might as well. Then I'll fold again. Hopefully I'll get reinforce. Shoulder bash, I mean, it's a mobility mantra. I'll take it for now and I can always reroll it later. Anyways, let me actually sell the hive loot that's been accumulating, because grinding hive jobs is actually decent for money. Like, I've just been casually grinding, not even looting most chests, and I'm already at 5.5 thousand notes. One more fortitude point and we will have, was it reinforced armor requirements? Actually, let me go gank this Thresher. This should give me the last point that I need. We're a high enough power now, so we're actually able to kill them pretty fast. Plus, Rush Hour is a really strong damage multiplier. You know, the reason that it's not used on more builds is just because it's pretty expensive at 50 blood rend. Also, the health drain is definitely an issue for longer fights. But there's our reinforced armor. There's replenishing knockout. I should actually tag this Thresher. Okay, that's probably enough. And well, I don't need any of these, so I'll just grab this. Get mythic stability. Might as well. It's a rare card. And there's Thresher Claws. Oh yeah, power 13, damn. After that blood run is out of the way, we really started to speed up. Actually, I sort of mean to do Carnival of Hearts. One of these schematics I want to equip on the build is from Carnival. So I'm just going to tell these people to join. Then I need to convince them all to throw because I'm actually trash at Carnival. Alright, I think we actually got them to join. We got 5 players. Does Carnival let you leave and play a combat? I don't know. But regardless, let's just keep investing into willpower until we need to leave. Well, I mean, I'm technically not lying. I'm going to include one of the old Flame Frost builds as an alternative. Sunken Predator, I guess. We'll get Defiance. What has he been trying to do? I can't tell if he's trying to attack me. We'll get Reinforce. Actually, I'll take that and equip it now because it's a really good buff. And, yeah, 30 more seconds and we're going to Carnival. Well, I might be leaving for Carnival while in PvE combat. Oh, no, we're good. And there we go. Little warning, I am trash at Carnival, but, I pinged my channel members asking for a name for this build, and some guy just replies, Vape Lord. I shot it on screen, it just got me. Because I like tabbed it out of nowhere to see what people are saying, and I just see that. Alright, now it's time to get rage baited because I'm so bad at Carnival, it's not even funny. So why am I over here? Why did they separate me from everyone? Okay, Beam Blitz, I'm trash at this. I can't lie, I'm probably not surviving till the end of this round. That was too close. Okay, it's a good thing they're delayed. Please, I just need the Tuxedo schematic. Are we screwed? Bro! Oh, okay, that was, yeah, GG. Rip. Well, something happened here, but whatever happened left a bunch of Gale Stones, which, actually, Gale Stones aren't even that valuable anymore, but I still want to take them because they're nice to have. So yeah, as you can see, I am beyond awful at Carnival of Hearts. That's why getting the schematic for Drip is probably going to be the hardest part of this build. Oh, another Carnival. Okay, we'll run it back with this Carnival, and hopefully I won't get completely destroyed by Beam Blitz again. So another gank at Hive. Yeah, they're having fun. Also, this is kind of like refreshing to see that there's still a bunch of ganks happening at Hive, and because Hive is the meta progression spot at the moment, there's a lot more people here, therefore there's a lot more ganks happening. Plus, you know, there's teleporters to get the Hive fast, and I just think it's really healthy for the game for ganks to happen like this. You know, obviously you gotta make sure the builds are fair, because basically everyone is a flame mage, I can't lie. Like, if you count all the builds we've seen today, most of them have been flame mages. So yeah, flames might need a nerf still, or maybe it's sort of just the leftovers from when flame was stronger than it currently is. Since I do know I got a decent nerf not that long ago. Thresher dead. I'll see if I can get a power up before Carnival. Actually, that's pretty unlikely. I don't think a Thresher is gonna give me that much XP. Also, I don't want these guys to hit me. Oh my god, that eruption is so big. Actually, let's see. One more power, then I'm gonna go get the extra talent hands. I don't think I'll need them, but it's always safe to just get your extra talent hand quests out of the way just in case. Because you never know if you've missed a card without knowing it. And there's literally no one at the carnival. GG. I still think you should at least get a chest for being at the carnival if there's no one else. Like, pretty please. Well, this Hive server seems a lot more chill. There's only one other guy here. I mean, at least I know a gank isn't likely to break out. Also, I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier, but I am considering starting a second channel because I want to make a, like, for members videos a while ago, I would just review other people's PvE builds, you know, educate my members on what's good and what's not. And I'm sort of considering just turning that into a full second channel just so I can educate more people. I don't know though. It kind of just depends on, do I feel like making a second channel or should I just keep it to members only videos? Because most people typically don't care about why a PvE build is good or bad. They just want to see what performance it can put up and then what's the best. So just let me know in the comments if you think I should make a second channel for that, because there's certainly a lot I could say in terms of PvE builds, but it's generally a lot of nerdy stuff. Plus, you know, I am really meta oriented with a lot of my builds. Like, I will rarely make a build just for the sake of making a build. I will always make a build because I think it's gonna be the best at something. A third person has joined us now, so this prog is gonna be even faster. And it's still pretty peaceful because it's just a bunch of mid powers at Hive instead of a bunch of, you know, people ganking. You know, the ganking is fun ambience, but this is a lot more relaxed. I still get a lot of people saying, oh my god, Skipper Gripper, I never see you in public servers, and I've been playing Australian servers for years. And it's like, I don't appear in like the top of this list. Most people don't scroll down and then see me in the server. It's like, I don't know how I've caught this video, but you can see I've been meeting people all day, and I think it's fun for me to meet people. Like, yes, I have access to private servers, and yes, I could use them to never get jumped, but I think it's a lot more fun to just play in public servers. I get to meet people. I honestly don't get jumped that much, not gonna lie. I am pretty lucky in that regard, but I make the choice to play in public servers in order to just have more fun while progressing, since there's a lot more interesting moments that can occur with other players around, and it means I have to do a lot of the less heavy lifting in terms of making the video entertaining. But now I think we're in range of the final power, and my prayer beads broke. Nice. Let me just go into my guild base and rebuy them. Despite what most people think, I'm also just not at a shortage of new builds to make, because apart from this build, I've got a new beginner build I want to make, I've got a couple other more gimmicky Diluvian builds that I just want to test, I've got a Godslayer prototype I could make, and a few challenge runs I want to do. I didn't actually mean to power up there, but I honestly don't think it'll matter. I'll get Not a Scratch. I don't know if that actually does anything good for PvE, but it's a free advanced card, might as well take it. I'll get Grasp on Reality. Don't need any of these, so I'll roll 2. I'll also kill this Thresher. Actually, before I Shrine of Order, I do need to go back to depths in order to get Heretic Sutra, so I'm just going to use the classic method of gaining insanity from a Widow. Boulder, and 100 Fortitude. Alright, with that out of the way, I say it's time to go finish the pre-shrine. As always, if you're not going to be fighting anything in depths, it is safest to hop to a low player count server. It's the biggest tip I have for new players, and is part of the reason I can stay alive for so long. Just because, well, there's a lot less likely to be a ganker in a 5-player server compared to a 20-player server, and since I don't need good ping, it doesn't matter what region I do it in. It's small things like this that just make you wipe a little bit less, and it's part of the reason that I very often don't even encounter depths gankers in my videos. Let's just aggro the Widow, then run over here, and now we just let it repeatedly grab us to get insanity. Because we have 100 willpower, I will be here for a minute. I'm just gonna wait for this combat timer to go away, and Call of the Deep back to Castle Light. Since we're over power 16, I can just go down to layer 2 immediately to get heretics. I don't have to wait for someone to let me down. As always, I'll show the standard route I take to get heretics. Go the same direction you go to get key, but you follow this path a little bit around. You'll keep following it until you come across this bell door. You can just roll clip through it. May take a couple of attempts, but there you go. Then you'll just come down here at this diagonal, hug the wall, and there's heretics. Then you can just light hook out. Now we're just gonna escape the depths, and I'll probably just grind Ferryman. What do I have to do? It's mostly element post shrine when I Shrine of Order. So, oh wait, no, I need a Shrine of Champions. Chance. I need a Shrine of Chance. Okay, I almost forgot. I need to go to Temple of Hearts and use Shrine of Chance. Well, that scared me. I can just Shrine of Chance a brick wall, so I'll guarantee human architecture, and that should lead into it. Go to Shrine of Chance. I won't need this. And there's brick wall. Very easy. So now I will just invest 1 point into strength, and I can Shrine of Order. See, 28 and everything. That looks correct. And there we go. I will actually go guarantee a 0-star Frost Mantra, because I ideally want to be able to start training my Frost Draw really fast. And if I can get Warden's Blades, it's perfect. Temptation. Get rid of Crimson Rain. And Warden's Blades. There we go. Alright. Now I am just going to head back to the elevator and escape depths. We'll just kill this Enforcer. I can just spam parry it and kill it. And now that it's spinning, it's GG. Providence Sons will absolutely shred it. Easy Enforcer, so now I think I'm either going to go back to progging at Hive, or I am going to go do Ferryman. Good to see the old place hasn't changed, so there's already a random gank happening, with just a bunch of freshies watching. Oh, a dead body too. Oh, Steam, I'm using that. Well, I mean, I don't have it yet, but I will. Let's just grab some jobs. And now we just wait for Threshers to spawn. Alright, we've got Threshers to ourselves, so I can just do a bunch of Frostdraw training on them. Damn, they're dying pretty fast. Okay, someone is coming over, so I can't really use my AoE mantras anymore. There we go. Let's see, did I get any Frostdraw points? Actually, this should power me up. Damn, 1 point off a power up. It's okay. I need a Mystic anyways. We might get the Steam Talents. Here we go, Boiling Point. That is exactly what I wanted. Now we can actually generate steam if we're lighting things on fire. Let's see, I'll get Unfazed. Hungry Flames, that is an extremely powerful talent. And then I'll get more Vitality. I will go guarantee a 2-star Fire Mantra because we want to get Relentless Flames. Power 18. Oh, that's a lot of good talents. I'll freeze Carnivore and take Flame Within. Then I'll freeze Flaming Flourish and take Carnivore. Then I will take Fire Eruption to train my Flame Charm. Okay, now I want to get my... I'll get my Flame Charm up to 40 so I can get Agitating Spark. That'll just make proccing the Steam Talents way easier. Actually, you know, I have a bunch of auto-didact points. I'm just going to spam this to level up Frost. We don't want Eruption on this build. I guess I'll get Chilling Flourish. Okay, I'll get Cauterized Wounds, but let me... Fire Mantras. Okay, we already have 2-star, guaranteed. I'll get Cauterized Wounds for less blood loss. Okay, I'll freeze Relentless Flame... freeze Flame Wisp and take Relentless Flames. And now we have a lot of damage on the build, because Relentless Flames is pretty crazy. Get Vitality. Someone is in my guild base. Now I'll just level up the mantras I have. There we go. Don't think I have any gems on me. Yeah, I don't. Let's test out the damage. Ooh, lots of steam. Nice, nice. It seems there's a cooldown per target though, but it does do a fair bit of damage. Like, that was nowhere near as much damage as we're going to be doing later on, and that still killed both of the enemies really fast. There we go, power 20, the final power of the build. I'll get Berserker. Actually, wait, beforehand, I should go guarantee a 2-star Frost Mantra, yeah, because I want to get Ice Flock on the build. Let me just go to my Mystic, and 2-star. We don't want this because we would rather the steam just stay around, although I will probably test this talent in future. But now I'll just grab Strong Stern. I'll grab Concussion. These are just for carry load and to get rare talents out of the way. Now I'll just grab Flame Assault and 6 Vitality. Alright, now I pretty much just have to go do Ferryman. But I do want to test what is the damage like of Steam. I mean, that's not bad. Wait, that was burn. Okay, never mind. I thought Steam would be doing a little more, but okay, is what it is. I'll just use the rest of my auto-didact points. We aren't gonna finish off our points at the moment, as we do need to use Shrine of Mastery on our Flame Charm. For now, I'll just leave it at this, and go get Bell from Ferryman. After that, I'll just touch up all of the talents and mantras on the build. Ferryman Phase 2 is extremely buggy, and he just ends up teleporting all over the place and not attacking. I hope it gets fixed in the weekly tomorrow. Also, I am quite a few Ferryman in, so I should have Bell by now. I'm just gonna go down to the depths and Bell check. Just occurred to me that it's probably a good idea for me to do Kaido now. I mean, I'm high enough power that I should be able to kill him. And of course he dives as soon as I cast the mantra. And Kaido should be dead now. There we go. That was a pretty quick kill, and it brought us slightly closer to the whirlpool. I was kind of concerned he was just going to hit me in. And this should be Bell. There we go. In terms of what we're after, something like Sacred Field is ideal. It's okay. We have idols and our Young Shoal Wish, so we'll just use that. Well, after re-rolling a Young Shoal, we got absolutely nothing, so I need to keep going until I actually get Sacred Field. And there's Sacred, so I'll just corrupt it with a Sinner's Ash. And we are after the Insanity downside, as that's just a strict upgrade. Wait, what did I get off Shrine of Squeamish? That's fine. And we have, I think that's, is that armor downside? Well, I think this could be a good Sacred Field. Just because it moves really slowly, it might be really good. I'll have to go test. First talent hand quest done. Wait, was this NPC always here? I swear I don't remember them. Okay, maybe I'm just not paying attention. But let's check our talents and Crystal Shrapnel. I'll grab that because it'll give us some additional elemental resistances due to the fact that Crystal is proccing a lot in Diluvian. I could have done these extra talent hand quests pre-shrine, but just because we're shrining at the power 16 mark, I figured it didn't really matter since I was gonna get all the talents anyways. Forgot to record, but the second quest was done and I got another talent hand. The quest is still bugged, and now I am going to Mystic for Ardor Scream, which is the own frequency dialogue. Ardor Scream is just a really strong talent on the build because it gives you 25% more damage in an AoE and pairs really well with the Hungry Flames talent, meaning that my ether doesn't really matter too much. Okay, let's just run away from that NPC, and we didn't get it. I mean, I'll take Knight's Rally anyways because that's gonna lead into Turtle Shell, which is just free damage reduction if I'm being attacked from behind. I think I'm just going to level up my mantras. Now that I have modified all of my mantras, equipped the right outfit, and the right equipment, let's actually go to Etheron to get our oath. So a couple hours ago, I found out ahead of time, well, at the same time as the rest of the public, what the new DVM and monster armor values are. And it worried me at first because I read it as 50% max DVM. Obviously, the update's out now, but don't worry, I'll have a full bestiary guide after the every Diluvian V3 video, which if that was the case, all of speedrunning basically dies. However, I misread it, and it's more accurately 68% DVM with 48% monster armor. So yes, it's a slight DVM nerf, but it's not really a massive nerf, so we can easily move past getting 10% more damage. Overall though, definitely good change. I definitely, you know, worried that it was going to be mishandled, but no, Argo actually did know what he was doing. Or at least like he'd listened to feedback on the ideas. So we are pretty safe with that. After these changes go through, we're going to actually be able to run more PvP focused kits on our... Oh my, no, don't take me into the void. Good. Oh my god, that wind right there is so annoying. Wait, where am I? Where is this? What? I don't know where I am. No, I actually don't know where I am. Huh? Where is this? Oh, wait, okay, wait, this is the starter area, so the ladder should be over here. Okay, there we go. Okay, really weird. Okay, that wind right at that location is super annoying and always makes me fall off. I actually don't know what they're gonna do with the pips that are already DVM on, like, all of our gear. I hope they convert it to HP pips, just so people still have a god roll set. If not, I mean, I can recover because I have gildeds, but it's certainly gonna annoy a lot of PvE players if they lose their god roll kits. So, you know, hopefully they don't. And I mean, currently I'm already just under 500 HP on this build, and I'm still missing pocket bombs. So like when I can run an HP kit, I'm gonna be at like 600 HP on a lot of my PvEs, which is, you know, gonna be pretty crazy. All right, let's kill the Bonekeeper. Not gonna even bother popping all of our buffs. Already posture broken. And dead. Alright, for using no buffs, that was pretty decent speed. Now we'll just climb over here and go turn on the generator. I honestly sort of debated not even going Dawnwalker on this build, since Frost just gives you so many good options in terms of what you can use for damage. Do I have a Cherim Pendant on me? No, okay, I thought I did. But yeah, potentially you could get away without going Dawnwalker on this build. However, the issue with me saying that is people are gonna think they can start farming Diluvian before they know how to kill Atheron, which I strongly do not recommend people do, because the Diluvian is hard, and you should not be trying to learn the Diluvian before you can even kill the bosses in the game. It's like, that is a common thing people do, and then they complain about wiping early. So even if I release a non-Dawnwalker version of this build, you still gotta know how to kill the rest of the bosses in the game. Let me get Union Hook. Now I'll just do this little trick. It's gonna be a little harder because I don't have agility. There we go. Out of bounds. Now we'll come over here, jump through, and easy. We are already at spear. Okay, I'm just gonna kill these guys. Bloodless on Warden's Blades is definitely an interesting choice, but it does give you decent regen. You know, I'm gonna kill this damage too. And of course he runs away. And Bound to Dead. Alright, if I actually landed Warden's Blades, that probably would have been a one-shot for the Bounder. I am definitely getting really curious as to how Steam's gonna perform, because one Steam thing doesn't do a lot of damage, but when I'm stacking, you know, multiple at once, it's gonna hit really hard. Maybe even Gravity Field could be meta, because Gravity Field lets you keep monsters in, so if you keep them all close together, these Steam vents are gonna hit everyone. You know, yeah, someone, if you're watching this video and want to test Gravity Field with this build, please do so, because I think that'd actually be really interesting. I've seen some Flora's Lava builds that use Gravity Field for Diluvian a little while ago, but Steam is significantly better for damage, so there's a lot of possibility there. And in Spear, now we'll just go clip through Bounder's Nest. The Chaser kill isn't going to be particularly fast because, well, I mean, it's the Diluvian build. Your times on Chaser don't really matter. That being said, it is interesting to point out that a lot of people do try to make all-in-one, like, true generalist PvEs, and the hard truth is an all-in-one PvE just does not exist. Like, people can try to make it, but the thing is, Diluvian kind of breaks PvE builds because it almost requires Brick Wall. Like, yes, you can do Diluvian without Brick Wall, that is entirely possible, and I've seen it before, but it's just so impractical and so risky. So, like, because of Diluvian, you have to have Brick Wall, and that just takes away way too many points. Because if you want to be viable for Chaser, you obviously need enough damage to one-cycle him, but you also need enough mobility to get to him fast. Like, even though I've got talents in this run, we're going to arrive at Chaser in the 8-minute range, just depending on my luck with Bonekeeper. But, like, that's absolutely nothing compared to, you know, Star Sovereign killing Chaser in under a minute. So it's like, yes, you can make a PvE build that can do everything that isn't hard at all. The issue is making a PvE that's good for everything, and that's near impossible. Damn, that's some good damage. Whoa, wait. That was so good. Hold on a second. That was some good damage. Okay. Maybe this build has more potential than I thought. Damn, I shredded that Bonekeeper. Right, Chaser time. I don't know how this is gonna go. I will toggle on my Flame Wisp. X, V, X, easy. Alright, obviously not gonna be max speed because, you know, Steam is significantly better when there's multiple targets. That's there. Oh my god, of course he does that. Let's see, that's alright damage. Nothing crazy. I mean, I'm not using an Ishin's Ring either, so my damage is not at its peak. Okay, the perilous sound effect and that actually messed me up because I'm not used to it. My Relentless, I feel like my Relentless Flames just isn't doing a lot of damage. It seems like abnormally low. Oh my god, I hate the architecture of these pillars because you get stuck under them. Okay, yeah, that's Chaser dead. No, I'll see if I can get a Chaser one cycle in future, because obviously I wasn't going for the fastest run right now. No, even though Diluvian builds are far from meta for layer 2, I am still curious about what damage this build can put out when I'm, you know, using it at its full power. And that is Chaser dead. Check the chest. Nothing good, so down to floor 2 we go. We do actually want to talk to the doctor here because I want him to be able to give me the Kaido Breath mantra, which is extremely strong since it scales off Frost Draw, has massive range, and is a multi-hit. It's basically just better Ice Beam, not gonna lie. I do actually want to try to do Trap Room on this build, you know, see if I'm actually able to output decent damage. Which, yeah, so far it seems we're doing alright. I mean, this build isn't done yet. Oh my god, no way that missed. And now it's getting stunlocked against the wall. Oh, dude, let me move! Okay, not bad. Could have been a cleaner clear, but yeah, it seems that Steam does indeed do insane damage. Where is... Oh, there's more enemies here. Yeah, Steam is really just shredding their HP. And that wasn't even with, you know, all of our buffs on, because I just didn't bother to pop them. Alright, now we can climb up here and grab all of our medallions. Okay, yeah, trap room is no problem, so I'm not really scared for the Diluvian. Plus, you saw how little damage we were taking there. Nothing could really touch me at all. I'm curious how I do against a group of humanoids, though. Bro, of course they just auto-parry. Stop auto-parrying my attacks, Jesus. Okay, but yeah, against a group of humanoids, I wouldn't really struggle since I just have a ton of stuff that goes through block. Plus, you know, I'm gonna have Fire Eruption to guard break them, and then if I need even more, I have Radiant Dawn. Those are two things that can't be cancelled if you get them off, and it'll just allow me a free Relentless Flames, which will probably let me health pack. Plus, you know, this is really quick to cast as well, and Warden's Blade just give me Steam procs, as well as constant hits, and Bloodless, while Relentless Flames does the bulk of the damage. So those two together, along with a ton of really good supporting mantras, is just gonna mean this build is putting out constant damage. And let's start the Atheron fight. Of course he leads with this. Alright, time to parry it. Again, this mantra is actually... That's not a mantra. That attack is way easier to parry than you think. Damn, we did half a bar in that one slam attack because of Warden's Blades and Relentless. And remember, this is without most of our damage buffs on. Okay, well, I don't have enough ether anymore. Alright, final bone in, and now it's time to see if we can kill Atheron. Okay, getting over to him is going to be the hardest part, but let me tell on Rush Hour, Flame Within, Ice Block, Wardens, and... Okay, that's pretty good. Definitely not complaining about this damage. Bro, really? I mean, Steam doesn't exactly excel in single target. Oh, plus I'm not using Patience. There we go. Atheron is dead. Now we'll grab the chest and get out of here. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's the relic that lets you skip to floor 2. Oh, wait. That would have been really useful earlier. Where is it? Here it is. Huh. Interesting. Well, I wish I got this on a build that actually could farm Atheron. Okay, maybe this will be a mistake, but I actually want to, you know, try to boss raid these guys. Oh my god, yeah, we're dealing good damage. Oh my god, that's so much Steam. We actually, yo, we just obliterated these guys. And we took like no damage the entire time. Holy. Okay, yeah, guys, this PvE build might be a bit crazy. Actually, wait, it's worth picking up. Actually, no, it's not. I already have Underdog. I was gonna get the, was it the Deep Owl hat? But this build already has the requirements for it. And I have the talent, so there's no need. But yeah, I'm really excited to test this build in Diluvian. Interact with Claris. Go through this dialogue, show medallions, teach me Radiant Magic, and there we go. Oath Dawnwalker obtained. I should probably also just skip the progression. There we go. Radiant Dawn, Blinding Dawn, and Radiant Kick. But we are going to get Dread Breath using a spare Dread Serpent Tooth that I have in my bank. Alright, take out the Dread Serpent, monster parts I've collected, replace it with Radiant Kick, and now we have Dread Breath. Epic. Yeah, fitting my mantras is actually going to start to get a little bit of an issue, but I'm sure I'll manage. Now, actually, I don't even know what these dialogue options do. Oh, okay, that's layer 2. I don't want to go there. All right, let me manually walk over to Diluvian now. While I was going to go to wave 50, and I'm almost there, I kind of realized that even the feat of a wave 50 is probably going to be outdated when DVM gets changed. Just because I don't know what the new stats are going to be like and how they're going to, you know, interact with Diluvian. Since now we're going to have physical armor and HP, which is going to change builds a lot. Just kidding, I ended up doing a wave 50 because, like an elderly man to slot machines, I got absolutely addicted to bestiary grinding, leading to me maxing it out really fast. While my stats aren't fully maxed, it was enough to pretty easily clear wave 50 without dropping below 2 bars ever. As you could tell, I kind of bursted down most of the monsters, and this eventually leads to me getting a clear that is a bit over 40 seconds long. It would have been shorter, but unfortunately, as you will know, the Bonekeeper is annoying and ran away. So yeah, this build is perfectly capable of clearing wave 50 and in really good time. I'm sure you saw wave 48 footage in the intro anyways. I'm just going to keep practicing with the build. There's already some stuff that I've noticed, like Dread Breath might actually not be worth using, because I don't think the damage is actually that insane, plus it doesn't knock monsters away like I originally hoped. Additionally, I actually have a theory that wave 50 is worse than wave 25, because it hasn't taken me 41 minutes to get to this wave. No, I've just been looping Diluvian, but the humanoids are really annoying to fight. Like, even Squibbos and Enforcers, they do pose a lot of issues, although I'm sure I'll improve soon. But like, a lot of the Songseeker NPCs, Angels, and all that have definitely been an issue since they all target you now. So I think Diluvian might just be too slow. I don't know, I'll get back to that on the Every Diluvian V3 video, when I've actually had more time to test. And this is where I think I'm gonna call the prog. The Diluvian build turned out really well and can absolutely shred through crowds of monsters. Rather than a showcase at 2,000 likes or 500 subscribers gained, I'll be releasing the Every Diluvian V3 video, which will include dozens of Diluvian builds for every achievement and different types of playstyles. All of these will be verified to be the current most meta builds in the game, so make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Discord so you don't miss it. A huge thank you to my channel members, especially those kind souls on the Mega and Super tiers. They get these videos early, along with other channel member perks. Check out some more PvE content, and I'll see you all next time.